I used binding for years without actually understanding it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And when it broke, it felt random. So I stripped it down to the smallest possible SwiftUI example. One parent, one child, one toggle. No theory, no diagrams, just code. In this video, I will break down a binding on purpose, show you the exact bug most SwiftUI devs shipped, and then fix it in a way that finally makes the mental model click. And if you'd like to learn more about data handling in SwiftUI, go ahead and check out the first link in the description down below. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call. Okay, so bindings. I have prepared here a dummy project. Basically, it has these two new files, the parent view and the child view. And we're going to add in the parent view instead of the text inside the app. Now, how can I explain a binding as simple as it can? Well, we are going to use a simple example with a toggle. And once it clicks, and hopefully you stay till the end of this video and it clicks, you will never be mistaken about a binding again. So, first of all, we need a parent view. Let's just go in this file and let's create a new struct called parent view. That's right, and let that be a view. Okay. And right over here, I'm going to create the toggle. So that would need to have a Boolean value, is it on or off? So state private var is on equals false. That's the default value. Now, before we move on to the toggle, what is a state variable? Well, think about it as a bucket. And that bucket holds data over time. So whenever you drop in new droplets of data into that bucket, that one will be used, and SwiftUI will re-render the parts of the view that are using that bucket. In our case, is the isOn variable. So let's just have that view vstack. I was telling you about the state because the binding is a little bit different, well, a whole lot different actually, and you need to know the differences between those two. Let's add also a padding, there we go, and let's see the changes printed out in our console on the about the isOn. So on change of, and is on, there we go. We have the old value, new value. Let's print out, let's see, parent changed from old value to new value. There we go. Okay, that's simple as that. Quick note, if this SwiftUI stuff feels almost clear, but not quite, I could explain this in an interview, clear. That's exactly what I help with in my mentoring. We work one-on-one on real SwiftUI topics like state management, custom property wrappers, and architecture, using your code, not textbook examples. If you want faster feedback and that senior level clarity, take a look at rebeloper.com/mentoring. The link is down in the description. Now let's add in those two views. First of all, it's the toggle. I'm going to use the one let's just use the one with the title key. It's just a string. You can use the label too if you want to have more specialized views as the label of the toggle. So let's just have parent toggle. Simple as that. And let's bind it is on. Now, I told you it's binded. It's using under the hood the same thing that you are going to learn today, but just consider it done for now. It has the $sign before the variable, so $sign is on. Okay, next up is text, and we are going to have is on. Come on, without the quotes. We're going to set this to on, otherwise it should be off. Okay, so that's great. Now we are going to, let's build and run first so we can see that it actually works. We still have to change the text right over here into the parent view. There we go. Let's build and run one more time, and we should see our toggle and the text. Okay, so let's toggle it on, off. Great, it works perfectly. We do have our state variable, and as you can see on the console, we are printing out parent change from true to false. Great, and false to true, of course. Now, what we want to do is move this toggle inside a child view. Okay, so let's do the child view, and we will see how we are going to build out and how we are going to use bindings in this place. So we're going to create a struct called child view. It will be of type view, of course. And yeah, we're just going to copy out our toggle. Let me just copy this out and paste it in there. Okay, so now we are going to have an error. Cannot find is on in scope. So as a noob or a junior developer or someone who is starting off with SwiftUI, you just want to get rid of that error. So what you do, you saw that you added the state variable, so you're just going to copy it out and paste it in there. Hopefully that will get rid of the error, and it does. Again, this is not the way to doing it, but it's fine. For now, it's fine. So the parent view, we are going to comment this out, and let's just use our child view. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Let's build and run. Build has succeeded. Great. And now let's toggle it. And as you can see, the text is not changing. So something's wrong over here. And what is wrong is that we have two state variables. What I omitted in my explanation before about state variables is that state variables should also hold the source of truth of their data. So now we have two state variables, which means that a source of truth is right over here, and also a source of truth is right over here. And they are for different elements on the view. This source of truth is for the toggle, and this source of truth is for the text. But I actually want one source of truth for both of them, the toggle and the text too. So how would we change this code? Well, first of all, we are not going to change this state variable because this is linked to the text. We want to change this state variable. And yes, we are going to change it into a binding. Now, because we need to reference the source of truth outside of the child view, this should not be private, so I'm going to delete that. This should be not a bucket like the state variable, so it should be a binding. Yeah, hooray, we come to the topic of today's video. It should be a binding, and because this is not a bucket, it's not holding data over time, by the way, that's what the state variable does. It's not holding data. It should not have an initial value, so we want to remove that too. But you should provide what type of data is handled by the binding. So this should be a Boolean. And that is the change. So let me just copy out what we had and comment it out so you can see the changes. So instead of state private and equals false, you are going to have a binding of type Boolean. Now think of the binding as a road. It's not containing anything, it's not holding anything. It has a way of data moving from, in our case, one view to another. That's what a binding does. And by the way, inside the toggle too, this $ is on. It's also a binding. It's moving the data from the source of truth into the toggle. And whenever the user taps on the toggle, that data change is going to move from the toggle outside into the source of truth through our binding, in our case, into our isOn, if we're going to link it. But we are, because now we have an error. It says missing argument for parameter is on in call. So let's do that. Let's add it. And now you can see completion is different. We have this is on. And you see that binding of type bool, we had the same thing with the toggle. So what we're going to do is have the $sign is on. And that's it. That is how simple it is to add a binding. Again, remember, this is a road. It's not holding data. It's letting data pass through from view to view. So let's build and run and see the completed project for today. Let's see. Toggle is off, on. Really nice. And also the print statement is over here. Parent change from false to true. That's okay. Parent change from true to false. That's also correct. So that's what the binding does. And of course, you do need to also understand what stay does. If you like these types of tutorials, you want to learn even more about data handling in SwiftUI, go ahead and check out my mentoring sessions. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring. The first link down in the description.